All right, Pilsy, it's time to talk about Artem Zub. And he used to be a mythical creature. We didn't know much about him, but now he's one of the Senators' longer serving players. He's got the long-term contract. He's now been able to find a role that really suits him on this Senators team. And can you believe it that he's already played 4 seasons with the Ottawa Senators?
Yeah, like he's a vet on this team, which is crazy to think. Excuse me, but yeah, the thing with Artem Zub is, I think when he originally started finding his place in the NHL after coming over to the KHL, everyone started.
Once DJ finally played him.
Yeah, it took a couple weeks. But I think everyone started to think, wow, we finally found a partner for Thomas Chabot. And they tried that. I don't know. Like, what would you say, Ross? Middling success? Like, they were okay, but
they were good, not great.
Yeah, it just didn't seem like, if you're looking for a top pair, they weren't it. They just weren't able to bring that like Artem Zub is able to do it with Jake Sanderson. And Zub has been a big part of this team. I feel like you ask any fan of 31 other teams and they're like, Zub, like cool, like we don't really know about him. But if you talk to Sens fans, they know how much of an impact he has on this team. And when it comes to defensively, like this guy's absolute nails, blocking shots, great gap control, battling out in front of the nets, boxing guys out. Like Zub is one of those players that you might not see highlight reels for him, but it's those little things that he does right, similar to Jake Sanderson, that all, when they all come together, make a really good hockey player.
And Zub obviously battled through that broken jaw earlier on in the season, and he only got to play 69 games. Still, though, a career high in points for Artem Zub, 25 points, 22 of them coming at even strength, 24 coming at even strength, which is tied for number 1 among all Senators defensemen this year. So I think that in itself should be like, oh, wow, this guy is able to produce some offense. It was 22, tied with Jacob Chikrin for most among Sens defensemen. So I'm looking at him as a guy who's still kind of scratching the surface of what he can be. You might remember we were lauding the fact that in his last year in the KHL, he had 13 goals in 57 games. Like he's got a bomb from the point. It's just a matter of getting him in those offensive situations, and he's so good defensively, you don't really want to take him out of those. So he had 5 goals this year, had 25 points, was a +5, and had the second best expected goals at 5-on-5 percentage-wise with the Senators defense with 52.5%. So the numbers match the eye test for me. Zub is just that low maintenance, low maintenance, low event, but high production defenseman where you know you need a guy like that. And that's why he was an untouchable for me into the trade deadline and into this summer, because if you trade an Artem Zub, you're going to look for another one. Definitely. Keep your Artem Zub that you have at home. He's obviously a fan favorite. One of the cooler traditions that have just kind of naturally come into Sens fandom is the Zub chants every time this guy touches the puck. And it's just a fan favorite in the making. He's learning his English, and I almost think that it's really cool to see his progression year over year, because I think there's still more untapped potential, believe it or not, even though now he's not a young kid anymore. He's 28 years old. He'll be 29 at the start of next season. Like, he's in the prime and he's making $4.6 million. And I think that the value for that is really strong for Artem Zub going forward.
Yeah, I would agree. He's definitely endeared himself to Sens fans. The Zub chat at the CT, or the Zub chant, I should say, at the CTC is always fun to join in on. And Ross, how about this?
Even better than at the CTC, Pilsy, it's cool on the road. You know where the Sens fans are in the rink.
Well, and especially it's cool on the road because all the home team fans are like, what? Are the Sens fans booing their own guys? Like, what's up with this?
He just goes and rags the puck back behind his net. Everyone's like, Zub! Oh, it's the best.
And Ross, get this. We talked about Jake Sanderson being an Olympian. Well, why not put 2 Olympians together on a pair, and you've got a juggernaut first defensive pairing there, as Artem Zub was with
gold medal. Gold medal.
Yeah, gold medal with OAR in the 2018 Olympics. So they've got the experience here.
Yes, he does. And what do you think's next for Artem Zub? Like, is he just, it's for me, this pair, lock and key top pair next year.
What's next, Ross? Run it back. Honestly, if these two have, obviously you expect a little more progression from Jake Sanderson, just being a good young defenseman. But if these two come back next season with identical stats, Ross, cool with me.
Yeah, me too. And just you're getting in guys who are kind of taking up really key areas on the Senators team. Or on any NHL team. You need both guys, your left shot, and I mean Zub being a right shot defenseman is pretty key too, right?
Yes.
Like I don't think
Huge.
that should be understated as well. And just looking it up, here's the final thought on both Jake Sanderson and with Artem Zub. When Artem Zub was on the ice last year, the Senators team save percentage was .899. And when Jake Sanderson was out there, it was .907. So, I mean, with Jake Sanderson, that's one of the higher ones on the team, actually, 13th. So, middle of the pack. It wasn't like when Angus Crookshank was on the ice and the goalies were stopping 87% of the shots, or Roby Arventi in his 4 games, 81% of the shots were getting stopped. It was more, obviously, a huge sample size, but when Zub was on the ice this year at 5-on-5, Sens goalies were stopping less than 90% of the shots. So what could these numbers have been if they were getting good, if not great goaltending? Just something to think about as we go into next season of what this pair can be as a legitimate top pair on a playoff team. Artem Zub, let us know your thoughts on Zub in the chat or on YouTube. We are your team every day. More exit interviews to come